Over the past 10 years or so, while we Australians have been industriously consumed, sitting on the couch watching reruns of Fat Pizza and Howzers, Hyundai, which let's not forget, is number 3 in the World Car Maker Hit Parade currently. Hidden in plain sight, they just went out under cover of broad daylight and set up shop in China. Now, by set up shop, I mean they've installed end-to-end research and development capability, plus they've built their most modern and therefore most high-tech factory in China. They just launched the Elexio here. It's the first Chinese Hyundai in Australia. It's designed there and built there, and this has coincided with China overtaking Japan as Australia's top source country for imported motor vehicles. It's the first time Japan has not been number 1 on that particular hit parade in 28 years. So, as I see it, the future just called, and apparently we're already in it. So how about you come with me to China and we will check it out. This is Yantai in China on the east coast. It's about as close to South Korea as Adelaide is from Sydney. Yantai is what the Chinese would call a quote-unquote small city of just 7 million people. In other words, it's about 50% bigger than Sydney. Hyundai operates a full R&D centre in Yantai, and I mean full R&D. There is 35 kilometres of test track comprising 17 different surfaces. You've got low friction, high speed, whatever flavour you want. It's a buffet out there. They've got a 5K banked oval track rated at 180 Ks an hour. They can freeze cars and they can put them in ovens, including microwave ovens. You know, just in case you ever want one reheated. This place has full design and styling capability. The joint itself is massive. It's got 5 football fields of buildings, and they're all packed with brainiacs. If you stride purposely inside such a place and swing a frickin' cat, you would be knee-deep in unconscious PhDs in moments. PhDs the world over, of course, just so preposterously, dependably, repeatably shit at dodging a swinging cat. You can count on that anywhere in the world. But the main point here is that you're Australian, right? And you've got entrenched perceptions. And I've just been there and spoken to said brainiacs. And I've got to say, you've got to leave it all behind. It's like the conversation with Neo and Morpheus, that first fateful conversation. You've got to let it all go. Forget everything you think you know about Chinese engineering, Chinese manufacturing, Chinese research and development, and the Chinese capacity for innovation. They are world leaders now. And what we've all got to do is accept reality. This is a fact, and we've just got to embrace it and move on. Hyundai's R&D operation at Yantai is a compendium of mad laboratories doing world-class work behind a substantial fence. Getting inside with a camera is a deleted scene from Mission Impossible. There's weeks of negotiation culminating in quite the diligent and thorough strip search, getting in and getting out. I honestly don't think ordinary punters have any idea exactly how seriously car makers take information security. Getting in and out of these places involves going through a checkpoint that would put the average international airport flat out to shame. A security guard is assigned specifically to watch me like a hawk. That is his job for today. His only function is to make sure a camera doesn't get pointed by me at something it should not. I would have liked to show you so much more of this place because there was so much to see and it was flat out interesting, but let's just say that discretion is the better part of finding yourself free. frog-marched. I spent most of my time at Yantai within the safety performance group, like with the crash testing engineers. Places like this exist at a deep level so that you get to walk away in crashes in which your biology might be otherwise disinclined to survive. But at the same time, they're precision laboratories of mad mechanical mayhem, and we've got exclusive access today. So let's check it out. You probably find out about safety ratings of cars when those awards get handed out as a result of some local testing or over in Europe, whatever. But where they actually get baked in is in places like Yantai, because this is not a roll of the dice. Let's just see how we go with the crash test. It's not that at all. I mean, car makers decide how safe a vehicle is going to be. If they want 5 stars, they bake it in, and the oven is a laboratory such as this. There is nothing like this place in Australia. The building itself is more than a couple of 100 metres long, and there's even more runway outside. They even do several different flavours of rollover test, ranging from pretty vanilla to flat out spectacular. But if you're in the market for something a little more Thelma and Louise, perhaps one last joyride for that special someone, no problem. Yantai can help. Look me in the eye, dude, and tell me you don't want one of these. This is Hyundai's rollover ditch, a facility specifically designed for you to hair down here and flip the car right in the bottom. It's got the mother-in-law's name written all over it, dude. The only problem is, the only one in the Hyundai universe is China. So if you want to come here and have a play, that's going to be an impediment. The chap who runs this crash test facility is a young brainiac named Sun Wei, and to give him his credit, his English is 3 orders of magnitude better than my Chinese. My Chinese is on the limiter at 3 expressions. Hello, thank you, and dude.
We have 4 kinds of run-over text, including the ramp, soil, ditch, and curb.
I'm going to spare you the cognitive burden of subtitles and just tell you what Sun Wei told me. They do an incredible 500 crash tests every year. They've got 4 teams of brainiacs continuously preparing dummies and vehicles for tests ranging from Chinese NCAP to Euro NCAP, which also means ANCAP, obviously, plus Latin NCAP and compliance testing, meaning validating various government compliance regulations like ADRs in several markets. And 100 of those 500 crash tests are rollovers. At the risk of committing an act of wanton hobby horse ascent ever so briefly, I flat out don't understand why organisations like ANCAP don't pay just this much heed to the rollover safety and protection systems in vehicles. More than 0 would be awfully nice, because here in Australia, fatigue is a real killer. It's extremely common for somebody to sit behind the wheel of a car for 10 or 12 hours and then just nod off ever so briefly. And that's all it takes, isn't it? Down an embankment, park on the roof, shortly thereafter, having a conversation with St. Peter about one's conduct whilst alive. Oops-a-daisy. And potentially preventable with superior civil engineering, safer vehicles, and better self-assessment of one's fatigued self behind the wheel. So there's that. The point I'm making here is that the breadth of capability in this place that you have never heard of is awe-inspiring compared to what we do in Australia. It just is. I gave it 13 out of 10, and I am a frickin' hard marker. And dude, this is just the tip of the R&D iceberg, the bits that I was allowed to cherry pick and disclose to you. This is just a fraction of the facility's dummies, and while we're down here, they've got the wrong name, being individually smarter than both houses of federal parliament. This one in particular is interesting. It's called Thor, and if you want one for the man cave, you better stump up more than $1 million, even slightly used off Facebook Marketplace. Being reborn as a crash test dummy would of course be one of reincarnation's worst possible outcomes. It's a brutal existence separated by periods of intense tedium, and yet people just expect you to be so damn precise every time. Even when you're not being crashed, they're busy calibrating you, which is also, as it turns out, a tightly controlled pain in the arse. Ordinary punters tend to forget that crash test dummies are dependable, biometrically representative precision devices. Kind of the opposite of your average federal frontbencher, whom clearly recent history has proven cannot even be depended upon to protect something as fundamental as your freedom of speech. Secretly begging Amnesty International for rescue and repatriation, no doubt. This is the final assembly shot of what is arguably Hyundai's most advanced factory on the planet. And the news flash here is it's not in South Korea. It's 60 k's northeast of Tiananmen Square in Beijing. This place inverts perception too. It's a joint venture with the Beijing Automotive Investment Corporation, the BAIC. Just to give you some perspective, I wrote down some of the salient details. The BAIC is going to turn 70 in a couple of years' time in 2028. It currently ranks 201st on the Fortune 500 list, and it boasts 130,000 employees. The BAIC has manufactured roughly 35 million vehicles since it kicked off, and 1.7 million of those were in 2024, the most recent year I could find information for. That makes the BAIC a little smaller than Nissan, but bigger than Mazda. We are at one of the two Beijing Hyundai factories outside Beijing. This is the one where Elexio gets made. And if you know anything about production engineering, you can quickly see that this joint also is a brain bender. A side effect of being the newest Hyundai plant also means that it's the most modern. This plant is actually designed to be a little mini Ulsan, and Ulsan is a joint in South Korea with the world's largest integrated car factory on it. Parts come in at one end and ships wait for fully manufactured cars at the other. It's gobsmacking. Wrapping one's Australian brain around production engineering at this scale is hard enough. There's just nothing like it on shore here. The press shop, for example, has 3 massive 500-ton press lines. Coiled steel goes in at one end and body panels on pallets come out at the other. One of those 500-ton lines is for what they call blanking, which is when you take a coil and you just cut out the two-dimensional part. And the other 2 are stamping lines, which makes the blank that you've just cut into a 3-dimensional body panel by stamping it, whooshka, 500 tons, thanks very much, against these massive precision-engineered hardened steel dies. All of those parts move then to the body shop where 380 robots do all of the welding and assembly. It's totally Skynet, like 100% automated, right down to the digital verification, meaning the quality assurance. Like, they've got a scanner in-house that scans entire cars down to roughly the thickness of a human hair, which is 80 microns, give or take. The paint shop is also totally robotic, and as humans, we didn't actually enjoy a visa to visit that. You kind of have to know what you're looking at, obviously, but you quickly realise that this joint runs on a mad diet of quality assurance. They do advanced QA checks everywhere on dimensions and torque specifications. Like, every car is verified as being properly waterproof before it rolls out. Like, there is a dedicated water jet chamber designed for exactly this purpose. and every car literally gets gushed all over. No vehicle manages to escape this place without robotic verification of its head-up display and 360 camera system. Just to give you a brief window into the complexity of a modern car, this rig that I'm standing in right now with all these reference points and this robot just up here with a probe on it and a camera has one function. It's a verification rig that tells the operator whether or not the head-up display and the 360-degree camera system is correctly calibrated. So they drive the car here, it does its mad electronic voodoo, whoosh, out the door, and repeat times, I don't know, infinity. When you visit a factory like this, if you can look beyond the mad robots and the cacophony and just the action that goes on, it's pretty visually compelling. But if you look beyond that, it quickly smashes the perception, like the median Australian perception of quote-unquote Chinese manufacturing. Pretty sure the use-by date expired on that several years ago now. The new Hyundai Elexio, which was kind of the catalyst for this story, was developed in China, mainly for China, and it's been built in this factory only since about October last year, and subsequently it was deemed worthy for export internationally to markets including Australia. I'm going to leave you with 3 salient observations about all of that. Firstly, and most obviously, Hyundai has spent 4 decades building its reputation here in Australia. It's their 40th anniversary onshore this year, and today I would legitimately put some Hyundais right up there as contenders against European rivals costing like 50 grand more. For example, I'd put a Palisade or a Santa Fe up against a Q7 or a GLE any day. And this is not the kind of claim that I ever expected to be making. Like, if I go back in time to 2005 or something, an utter heresy of that nature, I would simply have expected to be laughed out of the frickin' room, and yet here we are. So therefore, Hyundai Australia would have to be clinically insane to bring Elexio here if there were even the remote likelihood of it being a low-quality reputation smasher, because it took them 4 decades of fairly hard and sustained graft to elevate the brand to the status it enjoys today. The second major observation here is the robots in the factory. And it's not a case of, golly gee, Jim Bob, James Cameron was right. It's not that at all. Like, you put robots in factories to do jobs where they do those jobs better than the human, where they don't have to stop to pee and don't have a sick day and strive for consistency but always freaking fail to achieve it. And it's not as if there's no humans. Beijing Hyundai employs 5,000 humans, and the preponderance of robots just skews the nature of those humans. So we're back to swinging a freaking cat and counting the number of unconscious PhDs. There's a lot of brainiacs in this place relative to labourers, and that means they can concentrate on lofty ideals such as quality assurance and things of that nature. China has turned itself into a technological powerhouse essentially while we were not looking, and half of Australians still don't realise this. To me, this is just simple supply and demand. Like, if you need 5,000 world-class brainiacs to bolster your research, your development, your production efficiency, the economies of scale and things of that nature, where else in the world would you look? To be fair, I was only over there for a brief window of opportunity to bring you this sneak peek at Hyundai's Chinese operation. But I can tell you that there was absolutely no objective evidence that I saw or even suggested in any way that a Hyundai designed and built in China is in any way inferior to a Hyundai designed and built elsewhere in the world, anywhere else in the world. In fact, in many respects, quite the opposite.